guys, Retro here. Today I'm going to talk about TV shows that I've been watching recently or that I've watched recently. And all these shows I would consider to be recent or relatively recent TV shows. And when I say recent, I'm talking about shows that came out within the last 10 years. I know that might sound funny to some people, but I am a retro guy. I usually watch older stuff. It's really hard for me to get into newer TV shows or movies, not because they're not good, but I'm kind of set in my ways. I watch stuff for comfort, so I'll rewatch like the same sitcoms over and over again, like the ones I grew up with, like Seinfeld, Married with Children, The Simpsons, that kind of stuff. So I've been trying to kind of get out of my comfort zone and force myself to watch new stuff or stuff I haven't seen before. And so yeah, recently I started, well not recently, but within the last few years anyway, I've been sort of doing that. So I want to talk about some that I've really enjoyed. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of be rambling in this one, but I'll try my best. So, and I'm gonna try not to give any spoilers, because I really recommend these shows that you watch them if you're interested. So the first show I'm gonna talk about is Severance. It's a popular show these days. Let me just read the brief description of it. I'm getting this from Wikipedia. It says, Severance is an American science fiction psychological thriller television series created by Dan Erickson and executive produced and primarily directed by Ben Stiller. Yes, that's right, Ben Stiller. The plot follows Mark Scout. Mark Scout. Actor's name is Adam Scott. An employee of the fictional corporation Lumen Industries who agrees to a severance program in which his workplace memories are separated from his primary external memories. So it's currently on its second season. It started in 2022, but they took a pretty long break. I think the second season just came out, I don't know, around like the 6 or 7 episode. And it stars Adam Scott as Mark S., which you'll recognize from Parks and Recreation and among other things. You'll also recognize other actors. Patricia Arquette, she plays Harmony Cobell. Christopher Walken has a role as Bert, and he's really good. They're all really amazing in this show. But really the main character is Adam Scott, but there's like 3 other main characters. I don't have their real names on me, but there's what's his name? Irving, Dylan, and Helly, and they're all fantastic. Actually, I recognize them all except for Helly from other things, but Irving is the guy on the Transformers movie. He was kind of that annoying character, and he says something about Devastator's balls on one part or whatever. And when I saw him, I'm like, hey, is that the Transformers guy? I'm like, no, it can't be. Like, he's doing a really good job in this, but it is him. And he's a really good actor. I didn't realize. I've seen him in other things before, or I recognize him, but anyway. They all do a fantastic job. But anyway, basically the concept, you have this corporation, Lumen. It's like a cult, but it's like a big corporation, and you don't realize how culty it is until you go on. But if you agree to work for them on the severed floor, they put something in your brain so that it splits you into 2, I guess, kind of like 2 personalities. So your work memories are separate from your home life memories. So when you're at home, they call that your outie, and when you're at work, that's your innie. At first, it sounds like a great idea. If you're the outie, you go to work, and as soon as you go down that elevator, bing, your day's over, and you're going back up the elevator. So for your perspective, you just kind of skip over your work day. And that's great because you skip over the stress of work. You don't have to deal with that. But if you're the innie, it's the opposite. So you're done work, you go up the elevator, bing, and suddenly you're back at work again. It's like you're working forever, and you never stop, which is an absolutely terrifying thought. It should terrify anybody. So yeah, that's pretty much the premise of the show, and as you go on, you find out more and more about this corporation, and then the innies kind of figure out, well, they know that they're innies or whatever, but some of the outies start to realize, maybe it's not so good, and blah blah blah. It's really hard to explain unless you see it, but it's so well done. I love the cast. And then there's Milchak, who's like, Harmony Cobell is like the manager of that floor, and then there's Milchak, I think he's like the assistant manager, and they have such great chemistry together. And I really love the, it has kind of like that retro future tech vibe with the computers and stuff like that in the office. Very minimalistic looking. And then when they're on the severed floor, and they're in the what's it called, the macro data refinement floor, MDR, not floor, the department. And basically they have these computers, the four main cast members, and they have to like sort these numbers or something, but they never really fully explain how it works, and none of them know why they're doing it. But apparently it's very important and mysterious for Lumen. But we learn a little bit more as we go along. And what else? The music is amazing, very well suited for that show. So it's just an amazing, well put together show. And I'm kind of surprised that like, Ben Stiller is like I think he's a producer and director of this. I think it was gonna be a comedy, but it's not. It's actually a really good show. Yeah, it's sci-fi, but it's not like heavy sci-fi with all this terminology and stuff like that. So I highly recommend, if you could watch this show, definitely watch it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Oh yeah, let me just write this in here. So it started in 2022. They're on second season, and it stars, like I said, what's his name? Adam Scott. Okay, the second show I'm going to talk a little bit about is Bel-Air. Make sure you can see that. Okay. So this is like the redo or whatever, the rehash, however you want to word it, of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I'll read the description once again. This is from Wikipedia. Bel-Air is an American drama television series developed by Mark and Cooper, Malcolm Spellman, TJ Brady, and Rashid Newson. It is a reimagined version of the sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it's based on Cooper's short fan film of the same name. Yeah, I think they made like a little short of a dramatized, or like a reimagining, like it says, of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it was so popular that they decided to make it into an actual show. Although I think the actors were different on that, I can't remember. But it started in 2022. Started in 2022. And there's been 3 seasons so far. And I think there's going to be one more final season. And it stars... it stars, what's his name? Jabari Banks, which is ironic that his last name is Banks, but yeah, he plays Will Smith's character. I enjoy this show. Not everybody likes it, but that's of course to be expected. It's a drama, it's not a comedy, so it's, a little bit more gritty, obviously. I think Jabari Banks does a fine job as Will Smith, although yeah, he doesn't have the charisma that Will Smith had, but not very many people do, but he does a fine job. But by far my favorite character is Carlton. When I first saw his character, I'm like, I was a little disappointed, but man, he really grew on me, and he's what you would expect. He's smart, gets good grades, wears a nice clothes, popular, but he has a drug problem. So, and the family doesn't really know about it until later on. So that causes a lot of drama, as you can imagine. So it's interesting to see, kind of a little bit more realistic, because often when people have money, they have more money to spend on that kind of stuff. So I also really like Jeffrey's character. In the original show, he's the butler, but in this one, he's like, I don't know what you call it, but like Uncle Phil's, not his bodyguard, but like this guy who like takes care of problems, I guess. So like, if he's like, I'll go follow this guy and see what he knows, he'll go spy on somebody and potentially a lot worse stuff. I don't want to give any spoilers, but he was like, when he was in England, he was like in gangs and stuff, and to escape certain issues. I don't want to, again, no spoilers, but he came to work for Uncle Phil. So he's a badass, you see him, get into fights and stuff like that. So he's a pretty cool character. I could totally see him have his own spin-off show, which is called Jeffrey. That would be cool. And a lot of the original cast members came back on the show, like Ashley, the original Ashley, as a different character, obviously. Who else? The original Jeffrey was on it. I think both Vivians were on it. Too bad James Avery can't be on it. He's no longer with us. He was Uncle Phil. I wish Will Smith would make a cameo. I don't think he will, but for sure Carlton, the original Carlton, has to make a cameo in the fourth season. I'm sure he would do it, no problem. One of the things, though, I don't like about the show, well, a couple things, is there is a lot of filler. I'll have to admit, like, the first few episodes are, like, pretty intense. A lot of drama, a lot of stuff happens, but then there's a lot of filler, in my opinion. Hillary's character is kind of just there, like, she's a food blogger, influencer type person, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I think Uncle Phil in the show, I like his character, I like the actor, I do like the character, I think he's doing a good job, but I wish he had more passion. You see in the original show, Uncle Phil would just loses his mind, loses temper, and yell at Will, and Will deserved it most of the time. So you always want to see that, right? In this show, he's like always very calm and collected, and kind of low key. I think he did get like upset in one episode, but like loud or whatever. But I wish there was a little bit more of that passion. You know what I mean? And I also think they kind of botched the story. Well, I don't want to give any spoilers, but there was one major storyline or major episode in the original show, like a very high drama episode that kind of almost makes me cry every time I see it. But in this one, when they did that story, it was kind of lame. And it's funny that the original comedy that did better drama than the drama version of the show, but what can you do? I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to the fourth season. Alright, next up is Glow. This is basically a very it's a show that's very loosely based on the original Glow Wrestling organization. That's the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It's not a biopic, but it's because they changed a lot of stuff, and it's not supposed to be like a retelling in terms of a historically accurate sense. But anyway, let's read the description. Glow is an American comedy drama television series created by Liz Flathead, and Carly Mensch, or whatever, for Netflix. The series revolves around the fictionalization of the characters and gimmicks of the 1980s syndicated women's professional wrestling circuit, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, or Glow, founded by David McLean. There's currently, there's 3 seasons. 3 seasons. And it ran from 2017 to 2019. And they were gonna have another season, but then COVID hit, and it just forget it. So that it's too bad. I would have liked to have seen a 4th season. And it stars Allison Brie, I guess you say it, and she played Ruth Wild, also known as Zoya the Destroyer. That was obviously her wrestling gimmick name, this like Russian heel type of character. I had a lot of fun watching this show. Basically this new organization, Glow, starting up, and they put out a casting call for women, and the main character, what was her name again? Ruth. She's an actor, who's a struggling actor, and she decides to go for it. And there's of course none of the women that are applying seem to have any wrestling experience. So basically they have to train them and teach them how to do promos and all that stuff. And there is a character, Sam, who's he's like a B-movie director, and he takes this gig, so he's kind of like, they call him the director of the show, kind of like the booker, but he's also like, teaching the girls how to do all this stuff. I like his character. He's very sleazy, but and he starts off like very unlikable, but the arc is by the end of the first season, you end up liking him, and the other characters like him as well. Yeah, but he was one of my favorite characters on the show, next to Zoya, of course, Zoya the Destroyer. I just love saying that. It's very fun to say. actual wrestler cameos. Actually, one of the Glow Girls is actually Awesome Kong, or she was known as Karma in her brief stint in WWE. And I didn't even know that until after I finished watching all 3 seasons. I'm like, oh my god, that was Awesome Kong. So some other cameos by Carlito, I think, as well as, I think, Alex, what was his name? Alex Riley. Was that his name? Yeah. I think he was in an episode. But yeah, it's a fun show. If you're a wrestling fan, it's not realistic in terms of how wrestling actually works. And if you keep that in mind, you'll enjoy it more. For example, one episode where they have this match, right? A big feud match or whatever. And then after the match, the 2 girls that were in the match are talking to each other, in the arena where all the fans could see them, just off to the side, while some other match was going on. And they're talking and laughing and smiling or whatever out of character. And I'm like, they would never do that in wrestling, especially not in the 80s. So, but again, if you just don't think about those kind of things, then you'll probably enjoy the show. The 3rd season was a disappointment, though, I have to admit. That's when they go to Vegas and they run the show out of Vegas, and the characters themselves were supposed to be kind of bored because they're staying in this Vegas hotel, which is, yeah, it's fun at first, but night after night after night, always doing the same thing. They seemed like they were bored, not the actors necessarily, but the characters, and it made me feel bored. Just didn't have the drama that the other episodes had, or the other seasons had, so it was kind of a letdown, but still I would have liked to have seen the 4th season. And the last show I'm going to talk about in this episode is Only Murders in the Building. Only Murders in the Building. And here's the description. Only Murders in the Building is an American mystery comedy drama television series created by Steve Martin and John Hoffman. The show focuses on a trio of strangers with a shared interest in true crime podcasts who become friends while investigating a succession of suspicious murders in the Arconia, their upscale apartment building on Manhattan's Upper West Side, and producing their own podcast about the cases titled Only Murders in the Building. And it started in 2021, and I believe there's 4 seasons. 4 seasons. Am I wrong? Hold on, let me double check that. I want to make sure I'm getting this right here. Yeah, that's right, there's 4 seasons. And it stars, get this, Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez, which I know that sounds weird, but that's an odd trio. Well, Selena is compared to them too. So yeah, obviously Steve Martin and Martin Short have worked together a lot, but Selena Gomez, you think she's like the outsider, but her character is like an old soul, and she has like an older soul than Steve Martin and Martin Short put together. But Steve Martin and Martin Short's characters are they're in show business, or they were in show business, so they're kind of washed up or whatever. Selena Gomez, I can't remember what she did in the original, or in the 1st season, but then later she becomes unemployed or whatever. But anyways, basically the premise is every season somebody gets murdered in the building that they all live in, and they have to figure out who did it. And while doing it, they have a podcast, and they're podcasting their journey through trying to find out who did this. So, interesting concept. They work very well together, and what I like about the show, and this might sound kind of weird, but there's a sort of, I like the concept of 3 friends living in the same building but on a different floor. The whole building is even though it's a massive building, but it feels cozy somehow. I don't know how to explain that, but it's you phone your buddy or your friend and they're on another floor, you have to come here right now, I found something out, and then they just come up and it's what is it? I don't know, just maybe it's the layout of the apartments or something. I get a cozy feeling, and it's nice to have, friends they care about so close by. Not on the same floor, but in the same building, that's okay. Same floor is a little bit too much. I don't want a Kramer situation where he's right across the hall and boom, he just shows up anytime you want. That's a little bit too much. Oh yeah, but it is a lot of fun. There's a lot of celebrities on the show, like Paul Rudd is in quite a few episodes. What's her name? Meryl Streep, I think. There's just so many, but and they all do a really good job. So, and of course, Steve Martin and Martin Short are hilarious, especially Martin Short. He's pretty funny. His name is Oliver Putnam on the show. What a perfect Martin Short type of name, Oliver Putnam. I'm guaranteed he came up with that name. I just guarantee it. And he likes eating dip. That's all he eats is exclusive. He has like dip. Anything you could dip and dip and dip. But anyways, I'm not doing the show justice, but it's a pretty fun show. The last season wasn't my favorite, but it's pretty good, and I believe they're gonna keep making